honoring the life and memory of Dr. Guy F. Reichman, recognizing and commending the Elaine Clark Center, commending the City of Duluth, and recognizing March 3rd, 2026 as Duluth Day at the Capitol, commending and congratulating Gabasol Quirez, commending Turner Crawford, Pepperell High School's 2025-2026 star student, commending Peter Whitehead, Unity Christian Schools 2025-2026 star student, recognizing and commending Reagan Moore, recognizing and commending Caitlin Butler Marchand, congratulating the Atlanta Track Club Elite for their world record performance at the 2026 Penn Classic, commending Julia Johnson, Rome City High School's 2025-2026 star teacher, commending Cameron Bawa, Rome City High School's 2025-2026 star student, commending Susan Payne, Unity Christian Schools 2025-2026 star teacher, honoring the life and legacy of Robert Elmo Nichols, congratulating and commending Chief Latosha Clemens for receiving the 2026 Yellow Rose Nikki T. Randall Service Leadership Award, commending Jonathan Silver, Pepperell High School's 2025-2026 star teacher, commending David Little, Armurchie's High School 2025-2026 star teacher, commending Louis Hagerich, Armurchie's High School's 2025-2026 star student, and for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? Hearing none, the resolutions are adopted. Mr. Clerk, members, we're going to move on to the rules calendar. We're going on to the rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 689?
House Bill 689 by Representative Carpenter IV to be entitled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 3 of Title 8 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating Housing Trust Fund for the Homeless, so as to establish a homelessness prevention program. This bill having been referred to the State Planning and Community Affairs Committee, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Mr. Chairman, just for your information, you do have two speakers after you that will speak in favor of the bill. So the gentleman's recognized to speak to House Bill 689, Chairman Carpenter.
Thank you, Speaker. House Bill 689 looks to, for the first time in Georgia history, to allow DCA under the Housing Trust Fund to establish homelessness prevention as a program across our state. It does not at this time appropriate money for such a cause, but it does allow them in the future to do so. We know this is a major issue. This is something that, you know, as housing prices and affordability issues are happening around the state, we know homelessness is an issue. And I've always been the kind of guy that likes to be proactive on issues and saying if we spend money on the front side to prevent homelessness, we're going to get much better bang for our buck as being fiscally conservative. So that's what this bill seeks to do. It seeks to allow DCA to continue programs that were started under COVID, federal programs, so that folks, you know, if they're a little short, say $500 short, there's grant programs at the local level that will help these individuals to make sure that we keep people in their homes. My heart is with people that have children. As a father of four, as we do all that we do for education, if kids don't have a stable home environment, we know that it doesn't matter how much money we spend at the state, we can't solve this problem. And so this is just it's not going to solve all the homelessness issues in the state, but it is a move in the right direction to say that we want to support this and make sure that people are able to stay in their homes. And I'll stand for any questions.
Gentlemen, yield for a question. I see one question.
Yes, sir.
Representative Marty Barnes to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
How much are we appropriating for this?
It's not an appropriation at this time. It does allow for the discretion of DCA to move programming towards that as we so choose to appropriate. You know, we do a lot of things around here where we set up line items in the budget for future appropriation, and that's what this seeks to do, is as we move forward to say, we know this is an issue, it's a much better bang for our buck to deal with it on the front side, because I don't know, as we're going to vote on this budget later, but if you do the math, it costs us about $32,000 a year for someone that's incarcerated. We all know that homelessness leads to that eventually.
Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate the bill. So basically right now we have to start funding this trust fund.
Well, there's actually money in the budget for the trust fund, but this particular category, it allows them to expand it from just homelessness to focus on prevention as well.
Thank you. I appreciate the bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I yield the well.
Gentleman's yielded well. We have two speakers. Oh, I couldn't find you, Representative Campbell. I apologize. Representative Lisa Campbell is recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I am really excited to speak in favor of House Bill 689, really the Georgia Stable Family and Homelessness Prevention Act. And I've had the pleasure of working with House Atlanta, Georgia Appleseed, and the Georgia Healthy Housing Coalition, with many of you and our esteemed colleagues, Chairman Carpenter and Representative Mary Margaret Oliver, both leading the charge, and many advocacy organizations working to both raise awareness about this growing issue and, importantly, work together to solve a problem. Along this way, I've learned some compelling things. More than 1/3 of Georgia's families rent their homes. That's about 1.4 million households, 1.4 million Georgians. And more than half of those 1.4 million are cost burdened, spending more than 30% of their household income on rent. So again, that's about 700,000 Georgians spending more than 30% of their total income just to have a place to live. These households are particularly vulnerable to falling behind on their rent and then losing their housing when unexpected things happen. Think of skyrocketing health insurance, surprise medical bills, maybe loss of a family member, job loss, rising child care expenses. And so far today, we've spent a lot of time talking about how much Georgians have in their pockets. And what we know is that more than half of American families have less than $2,000 in savings, and 1/3 have less than $250. When financial emergencies arise, it can have devastating impacts on housing stability, with dire consequences that can be avoided with proactive programs like this to support things like short-term rental assistance. I agree, this bill is a tremendous, and just the first, but a wonderful first step in coming together to solve a problem for more than 1 million of Georgia's families. I'm supporting it for many reasons, including this bill promotes health and well-being. It helps families maintain stable housing, reduces psychological distress, and improves physical health outcomes. It also helps to prevent structural violence and chronic stress. This bill promotes economic stability. It will help low-income individuals maintain their employment and continue contributing to our economies and their families. This bill promotes better outcomes for children. We all know that stable housing is critical for child development, and this will lead to fewer behavioral problems and improved educational performance, all the things we've been talking a lot about here together. This bill helps to build a critical safety net to keep families housed. This bill promotes smart economic policy. Preventing homelessness is significantly cheaper than responding to it after the fact. And as the chairman stated, one study found that every dollar invested in prevention, in homeless prevention programs returns $2.47 to the community. It's a smart spending strategy, and it's a great return on our collective investment. I'll be voting yes on this bill, and I urge you to join us in voting yes to help Georgia families at risk of eviction and homelessness. And I'm proud to work together to build stability in Georgia, one family at a time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative Campbell. The lady has yielded the will. Representative Anissa Jones is recognized to speak to the bill. Anissa, Representative Jones.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of House Bill 689. This bill is about creating real pathways to economic mobility for communities that have too often been left behind. In Macon-Bibb County, where poverty rates remain significantly higher than that of the state average, this legislation represents an opportunity to strengthen working families and support local businesses and stimulate long-term growth. Too many hardworking folks are still struggling, and this bill supports job creation, supports self-sufficiency, and ensures taxpayer dollars are invested in long-term economic stability. This is not a Republican bill or a Democratic bill. It is a Georgia bill. It is about making sure that no matter your zip code, you have a fair shot at economic stability and upward mobility. This bill reflects that we can accomplish what we can accomplish, when we focus on empowering Georgians to stay in their homes and stay on their jobs and not become a weight of the state. It invests in self-sufficiency, encourages responsible growth, and helps communities build a stronger tax base without unnecessary expansion of government. This is something we should all be able to support. When Middle Georgia thrives, Georgia thrives. I commend Representative Casey Carpenter for bringing this forward, and I ask this body to join me in voting yes on House Bill 689 for opportunity, for accountability, and for hardworking families we serve. This is a smart policy. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Thank you, Representative Jones. That concludes our speakers on House Bill 689. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. All members voted. All members voted. Yes, so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 689, the yeas are 148, the nays are 11. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 634, 634?
House Bill 634 by Representative Baird of the 24th and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 33 of Chapter 2 and Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated the Georgia Special Needs Scholarship Act, so as to revise provisions for expedited completion of a student's first individualized education program. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Carter Barrett is recognized to speak to House Bill 634. Representative Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here presenting to you today. This may feel a little bit like deja vu. This bill, House Bill 634, speaks to the Georgia Special Needs Scholarship Program. 2 years ago, this body voted on this legislation 169-0, so I'm hoping for your favorable consideration again today. House Bill 634 makes a few minor changes to the Georgia Special Needs Scholarship Program. I want to make very clear this is not an expansion of the program in any way. House Bill 634 merely improves the program for parents, school administrators, and the Department of Education. Furthermore, with changes made in the Education Committee, it also increases the level of transparency in the program. It will provide scholarship estimates and actual amounts in a more timely manner, which will allow families to plan better. It allows for how funds are remitted to the schools. Presently, checks are mailed to the school, and parents have to go to the school and endorse them. This will just bring us into the 21st century with the electronic transfer of funds. It has clarifying language about the appeals process around scholarship amounts. And finally, it provides even more information into the program about the students who participate in it and in the types of conditions participating schools can serve. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I would be happy to answer any questions.
The gentleman did an outstanding job. He has no questions. Amazing.
Thank you, Mr.
Wait a minute, you have one. Representative Carlton Howard, all the way to your left in the back. Your left. All the way in the back. That left.
Yes, sir. Do the gentleman yield?
Mine and your left, not his left.
Back in the far corner here. Question, if a private school accepts a student under this program, are they required to provide accommodations the child had in the previous school that they were in?
Well, hopefully, Representative, they're able to do things. You know, the vast majority of children with special needs are well served in our public school system. What this program does, which has been around since 2007, it serves about 6,300 families. Those families have the option of transferring from a public school to another public school in their system, or a public school outside of the system. But for those that are maybe better suited in a private school, those kids can have that option as well. So presumably the needs are better fulfilled in that other school, even more so than the school they were in. I hope that answers your question.
Follow up, please.
Yes, sir.
Is it correct that private schools can refuse admission to students with disabilities, especially in that IEP program?
I don't know of an incident where that has happened, but I'd love to speak with you offline about that. If you know of an example, I'd love to hear about it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The gentleman has a number of other questions. The gentleman yield
Yes,
for
sir.
one from Representative Gisler.
Yes, Mr.
Gisler, he's right to your right.
Thank you. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
For children who aren't able to take advantage of this and move to a new school, aren't we leaving public schools in a worse position by shifting that funding to the private schools?
No, this program's been around since 2007. It's well vetted. It has added great value for quite a few families, and there's a reason why every single person in this body voted for it 2 years ago. So I think the program is well vetted. The Department of Education, this is a great collaborative effort by both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats. The Board of Education, we consulted with Gale 2 years ago to get their input into this bill as well. Representative Becky Evans played an important role in helping to shape this legislation as well, as did Lydia Glaze and many others. So I think it's a great program, and it seems to be well endorsed by everybody in this body. Thank you.
Gentleman yield another question?
Yes, Mr.
Representative Todd Jones,
Yes,
not
Mr.
to your left, but to your right. That one. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that the Georgia Needs Scholarship has been oversubscribed every year for the last 10 years?
The gentleman knows of what he speaks.
May I do a further question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Isn't it also true that the money that basically flows for each child from the local school districts remains in the district even if the child chooses to take advantage of the Needs Scholarship?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
You're great work. You got a couple other questions. You had some good questions, and you provided some good answers. So we have one of the members want to speak in favor, Representative Doreen Carter. The lady is recognized to speak to the bill. She's going to speak to House Bill 634. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just thought it'd be appropriate for the Carters to come up. So,
please, what did you say?
the Carters.
Oh,
Carter
Oh,
Barrett,
got you.
Doreen Carter.
Now,
Carter
I follow
Carter.
you now. I'm a little slow today. Excellent. Ladies recognized.
Well, you know, it's after lunch. So, as it was stated, this bill did come out of committee, the Education Committee, unanimously, but I want to say I do so with both conviction and caution. Conviction because families of children with special needs deserve options. Caution because when public dollars follow a child in a private setting, we must ensure that the student's rights remain protected. Under the federal law, specifically Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDA, students enrolled in public schools are guaranteed a free, appropriate public education. They're entitled to an individual education program, procedural safeguards, and due process protections. These rights are clear and enforceable. However, when a parent voluntarily enrolls their child in a private school using a state scholarship, those IDEA protections do not automatically follow the same way. Private schools are not required to provide an IEP. They are not bound by the same due process structure that governs public school districts. Students attending private schools are still protected under federal civil rights laws such as Section 504 and Rehabilitation Act and Americans Disability Act. These laws prohibit discrimination and require reasonable accommodations, but they are not identical to the full entitlement framework of IDEA. That distinction matters. We must be transparent with families about what protections shift when they make that choice. We must also remain vigilant that admission practices are not exclusionary and that schools accepting public school dollars uphold non-discrimination principles and provide clear service commitments. Choice may not come at the expense, choice must not come at the expense of rights. House Bill 634 expands opportunity, and I support that expansion. But as we do so, we must also ensure parents fully understand legal differences between public and private placement, scholarship participating schools, and transparent about services provided. Admission policies are fair and clearly defined. Students are not counseled out without protections. The goal is not simply access to a seat. It is access to a safe, supportive, and legally protected learning environment. Expanding options for students with disabilities is the right direction, but our responsibility does not end with expansion. It includes accountability. So as we vote in favor of this legislation, we want to be mindful where those students do have protection at the federal level, but when students with disabilities go to a private specialty school, we know they're getting what they need. But when students with disabilities go to a traditional private school, we need to make sure that parents are aware. So as legislators in the state of Georgia, there may be an opportunity to come back and make sure that we codify some of those things we're concerned about in state law, but we are confident that they are protected at the federal level. So as a parent who had to make some choices with a student that had disabilities, I wish we had more of this back then. Because there were some specialty schools that I believe my oldest son probably would have benefited from, but we really didn't have the funds to take care of that. But now today, we have those disabilities codified in the law where they weren't when he was in school. So let's give our children that have special needs, that need this legislation, let's give them the opportunity, but let's also keep working to make sure the state of Georgia is protecting those students as well. Thank you. I yield well.
Ladies yielded well. It's nice to see the Carter Caucus working together. Representative Glaze is recognized to speak to the bill. House Bill 634. The lady's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Carter, for bringing this bill. I do want to stand before you and say I will be supporting this bill, and it was an honor to work with you on this bill. Again, this is not an IEP, it's not paperwork. What it really is a roadmap for our students to get the type of support and accommodations that they need when they have disabilities or special needs. And this plan should not be delayed. It should be evaluated within a process that is timely so that it does not widen the gaps of our student nor bring frustration to our parents. House Bill 634 ensures that when their need is identified, action swiftly follows. So let's create these timelines that are clearer with accountability so that families are not left behind, waiting months to get services for a child that is qualified. And we talk often in this chamber about educational opportunity. Well, again, this is educational opportunity. When a child needs help, we provide it in ways that gives them the supports that they need. It doesn't lower our standards. It does not create unnecessary mandates. What it does is it helps us have every child in Georgia succeed, and our parents are supported in the process. So let's continue to keep this bill in front of us. I hope you guys will vote with me and vote this up as we're really making a vote for children and parents in Georgia. Again, thank you, and I yield the well.
Lady has yielded the well. That completes our discussion on House Bill 634. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 634, the yeas are 168, the nays are 0. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Okay, members, here's what you came for. Chair recognizes Chairman Hatchett for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House agree to the Conference Committee report on House Bill 973.
Mr. Clerk will read the Conference Committee report.
Committee of Conference report on House Bill 973. Committee of Conference on House Bill 973 recommends that both the House of Representatives and the Senate recede from their positions, and that the attached committee of conference substitute to House Bill 973 be adopted. Respectfully submitted, the Honorable Matt Hatchett, Representative of the 155th District, the Honorable Jan Jones, Representative of the 47th District, the Honorable Chuck F. Strachan, Representative of the 104th District. For the Senate, the Honorable Blake Tillery, Senator of the 19th District, the Honorable Larry Walker, Senator of the 20th District, and the Honorable Jason Anadavarte, Senator of the 31st District.
Representative Hatchett is recognized to explain the Committee of Conference report for House Bill 973. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I figured today I'd change up a little bit. If y'all will pull your document out, we'll go line by line and cover all the differences. Is that okay? 3 short weeks ago, I stood before you and asked for your favorable support of this bill, the amended fiscal year 2026 budget. Last week, the Senate passed their version of this bill. Since that time, your conferees have been in discussions with the Senate and the governor's office to find a common ground. We've worked tirelessly since Friday to come to the agreement you see before you today. And it is a document that I believe you can be pleased with. Allow me to offer just a few of the major highlights. The amended fiscal year 26 budget, as presented by the governor back in January, was built on a revised revenue estimate of $42.3 billion, which included $3.3 billion in undesignated surplus funds. As part of our conference committee discussions, the governor has agreed to revise the revenue estimate to include $1.249 billion in additional undesignated surplus funds and $145 million in undesignated lottery reserves. A total increase in the revenue estimate of $1.4 billion, leading to a new adjusted amended FY26 budget of $43.662 billion. The House believes that we can responsibly fund the needs of state government and provide tax relief. We're thankful for the recognition by the governor of the increased revenue to provide $850 million in property tax relief to homeowners. And this agreement also includes the income tax rebates that we will approve later. Between the two relief initiatives, this body is returning $2 billion back to the citizens of our state. Y'all listen to that. $2 billion back to our citizens. That means that many households could see a return of up to $1,000 in taxpayer funds this year. Another gigantic investment in this budget makes is one-time funding for design and construction of a new Georgia Regional Mental Health Hospital to address mental health and forensic bed capacity. Yeah. That's right. Our initial House budget recognized this need and included design money for this hospital. Our friends across the hall liked the idea so much that they added the full funds for construction. I'm proud to present to you a bill today that includes $409 million to fully fund construction of this hospital. This hospital will address delays for state psychiatric hospital services, delays that are playing out in our jails across the state. People in jail with serious mental illness should not need to wait months or longer to start receiving the care they need. Speaking of jails, we've already discussed the fact that Georgia's running out of space in our prisons. The original House version of the budget included $220 million for a private prison expansion. The Senate had different ideas on how to address the problem, and we were able to work together to find a path to continue to address the projected bed space deficit. This budget includes funds for an additional modular correctional unit and 2 transition centers, which have the potential to add nearly 800 new beds. We're also asking the Department of Corrections to explore all potential options to increase additional closed security, single cell inmate capacity and report back to us before the end of the legislative session so that we can fully consider our options before passing the fiscal 27 budget. The governor's budget recommendation included $325 million for a new needs-based scholarship. $300 million of this recommendation was for an endowment to the University System Foundation. This endowment would provide investment earnings to fund future scholarships. The governor's recommendation also included $25 million for needs-based scholarships for next fiscal year. When we passed our initial budget, we did not have enough information to include the $25 million. In the recent weeks, we've had several productive conversations with the governor's office and the university system. This budget moves this scholarship and endowment to the Georgia Student Finance Commission, which stands ready to manage and disperse the funds, and we have legislation in committee that will set up a framework for how this scholarship will work. With this process in motion, we're able to provide the $25 million for scholarships next year. We also worked with the governor to use excess undesignated lottery reserves to fund $145 million of the $300 million endowment. This one-time allocation of reserves will not impact Hope and Pre-K in any way, and we will be revising the statutory lottery reserve to further protect those reserves. While the next item I'll mention is not actually a difference from our House position, you may have heard that the Senate budget slightly reduced the one-time salary supplement for full-time regular state employees and school personnel to balance their version of the budget. This agreement restores the money needed to fund these one-time enhancements at the $2,000 level. You may have heard about some personnel reductions in the Senate version of the budget, particularly as it related to public safety agencies. We were able to agree to add back $22 million of the $25 million in cuts and personal reductions made by the Senate. To help take care of our state retirees, our original budget included $50 million for the Employees Retirement System of Georgia to strategically invest in increasing the funded ratio to improve long-term financial viability of the pension system and support our state retirees. The Senate agreed with our great idea and added another $50 million. So now we bring $100 million to strengthen our retirement system with a goal of restoring cost of living adjustments. There were many new items in the Senate version of the budget that we liked and kept in our conference report. We've kept $50 million to address homelessness and we've agreed to target $5 million of that towards homeless veterans. We've also been able to support a Senate addition for Boost, a program that provides grants to community-based organizations that operate out-of-school programming. The Senate was also able to fund the Aerospace Engineering Building at Georgia Tech, which was also supported, and we've kept the full funding for that project in the budget. And speaking of capital, we also fully cash fund the new optometry school at Georgia Southern. So I can read this. We've had broad agreement through our process on investing in transportation-related projects, in addition to continuing to support projects like I-75, State Road 316, and $250 million for local transportation projects. We've added new money for airport aid and rail. These projects will help Georgians get moving. And finally, a reminder that both chambers have been emphatic about ensuring that children in state custody are both cared for and safe. While we still have some work to do to address the long-term stability of this program, this budget includes $81 million to address the out-of-home care deficit. As I always say, this budget is the product of a lot of hard work on many members, chairs, sub-chairs, staff, and everybody involved. I want to thank you all for your dedication and perseverance through this process. In addition, I want to thank our speaker for standing with the House and leaning on priorities of returning our excess revenue to our taxpayers while making sure we take care of the needs of our citizens. There is plenty for everyone to be proud of in this budget. And with that, I ask for your favorable consideration.
Mr. Chairman, you don't have any questions. You did an outstanding job.
I hope I have at least one.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask, well, you do have one question. To your right, Representative Todd Jones. The gentleman is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, I hope.
This
isn't a test.
My first of two, if that will be possible. Isn't it true that, like the 49 other states in the Union, Georgia's #1 provider of mental health services are our prisons and our jails, unfortunately?
Unfortunately.
Yes, sir. May you yield for another question?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you and I have discussed this along with the commissioner and so many other people about the profound nature of this near $500 million commitment to truly affecting positively the mental health and substance abuse crisis that we have here in Georgia?
Yes, that's very true.
Thank you very much for your work on this, sir.
Thank you.
Gentleman, yield for a question from behind you.
Always, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman will yield. Hasn't it always been, for years, a priority of this House to deal with mental health issues wherever they arise? And I'm reminded of Speaker Ralston's commitment here, who started us down this pathway. And I want to thank you for your commitment and your loyalty to our mentor, Speaker David Ralston, and to the members of this House who support our efforts to provide mental health services no matter where, whether it's in our school systems or in our hospitals. To you and your team and all of these House members, thank you for your commitment to what we're doing for our most vulnerable Georgians. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I truly, truly appreciate you as a Georgian and our efforts to make sure. Is that not true?
I think that is very true. The words you have spoken and our former friend and speaker, I think, would have said today, hope wins again. Thank you.
Thank you for your explanation. On the adoption of the conference committee report on House Bill 973, all in favor of the adoption of the conference committee report will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose, Representative Campbell? Rise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that while there are a lot of good programs that have been funded through the hard work of this committee, that this bill does not include any new dollars to support our children and parents program? And is it further not true that we only fund 15% of the eligible families who qualify? And is it further not true that I look forward to working with the Speaker and the Conference Committee in the 2027 budget to address this issue?
I very much respect the lady's opinion, but I disagree. I think a rising tide raises all boats. And this budget addresses the needs of Georgians and helps Georgia's families across the board. And I think that helps all Georgians. Thank you. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the adoption of the Conference Committee report on House Bill 973, wow, the yeas are 169, the nays are 2, and the Committee of Conference report is adopted. Chairman Hatchett is recognized for a motion.
Move that the House immediately transmit House Bill 973 to the governor.
Pursuant to several sections of the Constitution, Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption, then I'll have a brief explanation.
House Bill 973 by Representative Burns, the 159th, Jones, the 47th, Illustration, the 104th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend an act providing appropriations for the state fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026, known as the General Appropriations Act.
Pursuant to Article 3, Section 5, Paragraph 8 of the Constitution, Paragraph 13 of the Constitution, immediate transmittal requires that this House pass that immediate transmittal with a 2/3 vote, and it requires it comes from both chambers. This House now will make a decision if it wants to give 2/3 vote to the immediate transmittal. Now, on the gentleman's motion that the House immediately transmit House Bill 973 to the governor, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and Mr. Clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? What purpose does Whip Park rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry,
Mr.
sir.
Speaker, is it not true that I'm so happy that my colleagues and I voted yes to ensure that this money can immediately be dispersed and that we look forward to continuing to work in good faith? Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
That is very true, Whip Park, and we appreciate the vote on that board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 973 be immediately transmitted to the governor of this state, Governor Brian Kemp, the yeas are 169, the nays are 0, and the House has voted to immediately transmit House Bill 973 to our governor. Thank you, members. Members, I want to thank two folks. Dave, Christine, thank you for your work and the long hours that y'all put in to make this a really fine budget, a fine document that addresses the needs of Georgians. Thank y'all very, very much. Y'all know what I know. It's a great day to be a Georgian. Thank y'all for your work. Thank you for your vote. Mr. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 320-320.
House Bill 320 by Representative Kelly, the 16th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Chapter 8, of Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to solid waste management so as to require the recycling of solar panels. This bill I referred to the Committee on Natural Resources and Environment. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Trey Kelly is going to explain House Bill 320. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I bring before you House Bill 320, which deals with an important issue as it relates to solar power generation in our state. We recognize that this form of energy is now a stable part of our power grid, and we are also, though, looking at what do we do once these solar panels have met their life cycle and they have expired in terms of their usefulness. We recognize that these are big panels that take up a lot of acreage in our state, and once they have reached the end of their life cycle, we don't want them to then take up place.
Continue.
We don't want them to be taking up space in our landfills, which will ultimately need us needing more and more landfill space. So this would simply require that at the end of the life cycle of our solar panels, that they would be recycled through a solar panel recycling facility. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Gentleman does have a question. Representative Gamble, right out in front of you, to your right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I'll be glad to.
Isn't it true that materials recycled from solar panels can be used in all sorts of manufacturing and will help in materials that are frequently subject to supply chain disruptions if we are able to recycle these materials based on your legislation?
I appreciate that question, and I know as one of our state's premier solar panel manufacturing facilities being located in your district, as well as Chairman Carpenter's, that you know of what you speak.
Thank you.
Did you pose that question for your seatmate back there? Don't y'all sit together?
He could have asked me, Mr. Speaker, before I got up here, but we do like a little bit of the spotlight being put on us way back in the back.
Hey, I got you now. It's working. Representative Gisler, is recognized for a question.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I'd be glad to.
I appreciate the bill. I think it's something we really need. But I noticed that on line 29, the fine for not complying has decreased from $1,000 to $20. I was wondering if you could explain that.
There was no fine originally until we brought legislation. We had started with a fine of $1,000 total for a full facility, solar power facility, kind of the whole field. We ended up moving it to $20 a panel. It costs about $15 to recycle one of these panels, and so we want to encourage the compliance with the recycling and not have it where it's a financial benefit for them just to dispose of in a landfill.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the question.
Gentlemen, yield for one more,
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker.
maybe two. Chairman of Agriculture has a question. If you'll yield to him, he's to your right.
Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, for sure.
I just would like to confirm that this bill does not refer to these facilities as solar farms. Is that correct? Is that in the bill?
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that question. You've taught me a lesson on that, and that is why we have worked diligently to define these as solar power facilities, because as you told me, there ain't nothing growing there.
Thank you for that distinction. I will vote for this bill in that case.
I appreciate that.
Gentleman has one final question. Representative Carpenter, to your right, is recognized for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I'd be glad to.
Does it not make my heart feel full to hear Republicans talk about solar panels and recycling, and I appreciate you bringing this legislation.
I appreciate your support of me in this, Chairman Carpenter, and it is important that we look at the power mix that our state has set up through our PSC. We have been diligent in making sure that we have a reliable, stable, but also diverse power grid that works not only for us as we're generating power across our state, but works for our ratepayers as well.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield the will and ask for the body's favorable consideration.
Gentleman has asked for favorable consideration and has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 320, the yeas are 162. The nays are 4. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1024?
House Bill 1024 by Representative Hong of the 103rd and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4413-100 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating exemptions for the purposes of bankruptcy and intestate insolvent estates, so as to revise the exemption for debtors' aggregate interest in real property. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Vice Chair Hong is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I present to you House Bill 1024. This bill relates to exemptions for purposes of bankruptcy. So bankruptcy law is governed by federal law, but some states have certain exemptions. These exemptions are amounts of assets that you can keep when you file bankruptcy. In Georgia, the homestead exemption is currently $21,500, meaning you can keep up to $21,500 of the equity of your home. If you have more than that equity, then you may lose your house, meaning when you file bankruptcy, the trustee in the case can force a sale on your house, get that equity out, pay off your debts, or you have to be in a payment plan to pay back up to the amount of the equity in your home. This has not been updated for at least 11 years. And I have also provided a chart on your desk that goes through all of the homestead exemptions under bankruptcy per state. And as you see, Georgia is towards the bottom when it comes to our homestead exemption. This bill will increase the exemption to $50,000 for individuals and $100,000 for jointly titled homes. Again, that increase will just put us kind of up to the middle compared to other states. In addition, in this bill, we went ahead and included an index so that we don't have to come back here every year or somebody doesn't forget for 11 years to update this, but instead it will automatically update annually based on the inflation rate. That is the bill, and I will take any questions, Mr. Speaker.
The lady has a few questions. Representative, does she yield?
I do.
Representative Howard, to your right. Representative Judd Howard, do you have a question? No. Gentleman waves. Representative Sanchez, to your right, towards your back, has a.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
Thank you for this bill. So, if I'm understanding it correctly, this raises the bankruptcy exception floor for renters by over 130%. Is that correct?
It is an exemption for homesteads, so it's for the exemption of the equity in your house.
Okay. Do you further yield?
Yes.
Would this have any negative impact for renters?
Not at all. It has no effect on renters.
Thank you.
Representative Reeves, to your right, recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the Vice Chair yield?
I do.
Is it not true in the chart that you brought and in the testimony in the committee, Texas and Florida have an unlimited homestead, so this is a very measured, careful approach based on data?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Representative Adesanya is recognized for a question to your left.
Adesanya, right here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
This provision is effective July 2031, correct?
It will be effective as soon as it is
upon the signature of the governor?
No, so the increase will go into effect as soon as it is signed into law. The index will start July 1st of 2031.
Do you yield for one more?
Yes.
How do we notify the public of this change, given the effectiveness, the timeline and effectiveness? Are we using agencies to notify people?
Usually the bankruptcy court website is very informative, so obviously as attorneys we will be looking at the bankruptcy law, but those that do not file bankruptcy with an attorney, so pro se debtors, there's a lot of resources on the bankruptcy website. So I would assume that this will also be on there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One more question. Representative Carter, to your left, extreme left back here in the corner. Representative Doreen Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a gentlelady yield.
I do.
I am reading your legislation and I'm trying to understand how it's going to affect homeowners. And this is, I understand, it's homestead. So I'm trying to understand, are homeowners going to lose the opportunity to keep their homes in the event that they do have to file bankruptcy, or are we about to pass legislation or potentially pass legislation that's going to increase the number of foreclosures and people losing their homes in the state of Georgia?
No, absolutely not. It is actually going to do the opposite. So we are increasing the exemption, meaning that more people are going to be able to keep their home even after filing bankruptcy. So instead of right now being $21,500 of equity that you can keep, we're increasing that to $50,000. So even if you file bankruptcy and you have more equity, you can keep more of your equity and keep your home after filing bankruptcy.
Thank you.
Sure.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask the body for your favorable consideration, and I yield it well. Thank you.
Ladies yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. All members voted. All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 1024, the yeas are 170, the nays are 0. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1030, 1030?
House Bill 1030 by Representative Donatucci, the 105th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to elementary and secondary education so as to enact the Math Matters Act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Sandy Donatucci is recognized to present the bill. The lady is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, members, today I come before you with the Math Matters Act, HB 1030. This bill is the first step towards improving math education in Georgia. The bill itself has 3 parts. First is guaranteed access to advanced math for students who are ready. So in 7th grade, at the end of grade test that they take, when they test when they test distinguished, they are automatically enrolled in the math advanced class. That means that in 8th grade, they will take an 8th grade math as well as Algebra 1, and this allows in 9th grade for them to begin geometry. If they test proficient, the bill allows for the local schools to establish a pathway if they would like to be considered to be put into the class. The second part of this bill is for the training of our future teachers. It's teaching them both the math knowledge as well as the skills. And finally, in the third part, 60 minutes of daily core math for instruction for 4th and 5th graders. This has been done with our neighbors to the west. In 2022, they had a very similar bill, and the NAEP scores in 2024, they were the only state in the country for their 4th graders to test above pre-COVID levels. 86% of our voters nationwide support this policy, and I want to thank the support that we've gotten. Representative McQueen gave us information. We reached out to Dr. Mackey from Alabama, Georgia CAN, GASIS, Gale, GSSA, Georgia DOE, Georgia PSC, Gwinnett Schools, and over lunch I got a note from Georgia Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs for their support. Mr. Speaker, I ask for favorable support and will take any questions at this time.
Thank you for the bill. Representative Jasmine Clark to your left. The lady is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
Yes.
First, thank you so much for bringing forth this very important legislation. I think we have a lot of focus on literacy in the state of Georgia, and I do think that mathematics is also very important, especially as a person that really cares about STEM. My question is, I know when it comes to literacy, they are talking about the science of reading. Is there like an equivalent of the science of reading for math?
Yes, so they would be learning the 4 strands of math. It's something that a lot are already familiar with, but just briefly, it's real-world problem solving, procedural fluency, conceptual understanding, and then productive dispositions, just meaning that you know the how and the why of why you're doing what you're doing.
All right, I love it, and thank you so much for bringing this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lady, yield for one more question. Representative Townsend, Senator Al, on your right, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does Representative yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that math can be a game changer just like literacy We need to enforce these skills and make sure we have the rigor in the curriculum like you're talking about, and make sure they're prepared for high school and then for a 21st century workforce.
Yes.
Thank you for this bill.
Thank you.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield to well, and I ask for your favorable support on this bill.
Ladies yielded well. I'll give y'all a piece of trivia. We have a great conversation with your pages every day. Guess what? A really pretty high percentage of them, their favorite subject is math. Thank you for the bill. Representative McQueen, I think you know something about this subject matter, don't you? Oh, come on, let's hear from you. Ladies, is recognized, speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong support of HB 1030, the Math Matters Act. As someone who has spent years,
Lady will continue.
Thank you. As someone who has spent years in the classroom as an honors math teacher, I approach this legislation not just as a policymaker, but as a practitioner. I have taught students who were ready to soar and students who needed more time to build confidence. I have seen firsthand what happens when we get placement right and what happens when we get it wrong. At its core, this bill affirms a simple principle. Talent in mathematics exists in every zip code, every demographic group, and every type of school. But opportunity does not always reach those students automatically. Too often, advanced math pathways depend on who advocates for the child, who understands the system, or who knows to ask. The Math Matters Act creates clearer, more objective triggers to ensure that students who demonstrate readiness are given access to advanced coursework. As a teacher, I can tell you, when a student is appropriately challenged, everything changes. Their confidence grows, their problem solving sharpens, their identity shifts from I'm good at math to I belong here. Mathematics is cumulative. When we delay access for students who are truly ready, we close doors. We close doors later. Doors to advanced placement courses, STEM majors, competitive scholarships, and high-demand careers. Early exposure to rigorous math builds the foundation for everything that follows. But the reverse is also true. When we push students into advanced coursework before they have mastered prerequisite concepts, we don't accelerate them, we destabilize them. In mathematics, gaps compound quickly. A shaky grasp of proportional reasoning becomes a barrier in algebra. Weak fluency with foundational concepts makes higher level reasoning overwhelming. Students who are placed too soon often lose confidence, disengage, and begin to see themselves as not math people. That is why I also appreciate the bill's emphasis on strengthening teacher preparation and professional development in grades K through 5. If we are serious about long-term math success, we must invest at the foundation. Elementary educators shape how students understand number sense, patterns, operations, and problem solving. When teachers are deeply prepared in mathematical content and pedagogy, students build conceptual understanding early, not just procedural skill. Strong early instruction reduces the need for remediation later. It ensures that when students enter middle school and beyond, they are not simply memorizing steps, but truly understanding the why behind the math. And that is what ultimately prepares them for rigorous coursework. Acceleration should open doors, not create avoidable setbacks. For those reasons, I respectfully ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you. I yield the well.
Lady has a couple of questions if she wants to answer them. Lady, will you take a question?
Oh, yes.
And look,
this is the first.
Representative Williams does that to people all the time. He does. We're going to work on that.
I will yield.
The lady's going to yield for a question from Representative Roman.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I do.
So you said you strongly support this bill. Can you tell us why you're so passionate about mathematics?
Oh, because it's the universal language, right? I may not know red and blue in another language, but I know 1, 2, and 3, yes? And so it's just very important for the same reason why we are so obsessed with literacy and the reason we are so obsessed with it on the 3rd grade level. Just like literacy, mathematics has the first downslope around 3rd grade, and so it's very important that we make sure that those elementary teachers are very strongly supported and trained in mathematics. Thank you. Yes. I
Representative Berry is recognized for a question.
more.
If the lady will yield for one more to your left.
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentle lady yield?
I do.
Is it
For my
not-
fellow teacher.
Thank you. Is it not true that all teachers are going to heaven, but math teachers have a special place in heaven?
Oh, we're right on the right seat, honey. We're on the right seat. Yes. The gentleman knows of what he speaks. Is that how I say it?
That sounded like a reunion right there, I'm telling you what. The lady has no further questions.
I yield. Thank you very much.
Excellent job. The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Carter rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that because of my math skills, that it opened endless opportunities for me and my family, and it is with great pleasure that I vote yes on this bill?
It's a life changer, no doubt about that. Thank you for the question. Chairman Saines, for what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry, sir.
Is it not true it doesn't take a mathematician to add up the passage of this bill?
That's what my machine says. For what? Okay, no more. Had one more. Have all members voted? I knew there was one more. No, it's not. Make up your mind. For what purpose does Representative Schofield rise? You were kind of going on and off there.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry, ma'am.
I might like math more if I had had this type of bill when I was growing up.
Probably so.
He asked me, did they have math back then when I was growing up? Can you get it?
That's fighting words right there now, I'm telling you. Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage, I can add that up. On the passage of House Bill 1030, the yeas are 171, the nays are 0. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, excellent job. Thank you, representatives. Representative Donna Tucci and Representative McQueen. Good work. Congratulations. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1329?
House Bill 1329 by Representative Stevens and the 164th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 13 and Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to controlled substances so as to provide for certain provisions relating to Schedule 1 controlled substances. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil. That committee recommends this bill do pass.
Chairman Ron Stevens, the gentleman from the coast of Georgia, is recognized to speak to House Bill 1329. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is our yearly drug update bill. We move drugs from one class to another.
Please continue.
And we also get a list that comes from the FDA on approval on new drugs, and those are on page 2. And if you'd like for me to explain any of these new drugs, I'll be glad to. Otherwise, I'll ask for your favorable consideration on the bill.
They all understand it, I believe. The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Take your time, Mr. Chairman. You're all right. Have all members voted? Oh, we'll wait on you. Waiting on a woman. Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1329, the yeas are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed.
Yes, sir.
Members, we've taken care of our rules calendar. Now we're going to move on to the supplemental rules calendar. The supplemental, we're going to take up House Bill 1259. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1259, 1259?
House Bill 1259 by Representative Dubnik of the 29th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 6 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to financing relative to the Quality Basic Education Act, so as to prohibit virtual instruction to out-of-system students if the local school system has a college and career-ready performance index. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from Gainesville, Chairman Matt Dubnik, is recognized to present House Bill 1259.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, House Bill 1259 passed unanimously out of our Education Committee, and I bring it to you today simply as a very quick cleanup. This bill requires a minimum student performance for a local educational agency who wants to operate a virtual school with a statewide attendance zone and out-of-district students. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. Be happy to answer any questions.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your favorable consideration on House Bill 1259.
Gentleman asks for favorable consideration and yields the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1259. The yeas are 169, and nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1277, 1277?
House Bill 1277 by Representative Barton of the 5th and others, being entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 16 and Title 12 and Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to environmental policy and highways, bridges, and ferries, respectively, so as to increase the project cost threshold for public roads or airports. This bill having referred to the Committee on Transportation, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
You do a lot of driving, don't you? I thought you did. So you know about all those things. A little bit. Representative Matt Barton is recognized to present the bill, House Bill 1277.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is an agency bill for GDOT. It updates an outdated thresholds, streamlines reporting, and provides GDOT reasonable and flexibility on projects that are delivered. The bill raises the environmental review trigger from $100 million to $200 million. The bill was originally set $100 million in 2016. It's reflecting current costs for inflation. This keeps up with culture, and it's also keeping historic and cultural protections in place. It also updates the threshold to design build projects, and also negotiate the sale of surplus projects, properties that are $75,000 now up to $150,000, again for inflation. And finally, it consolidates the transportation reporting into a single annual fiscal report to improve clarity and reduce redundancy. It's about efficiency and dealing with inflation. And that's the bill, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman has a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
We yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Jasmine Clark to your left. Representative Clark's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
So as we are changing this threshold from 100 million and basically doubling it to 200 million, how many projects that are ongoing right now that maybe have had to have this environmental review would not have if this bill was already passed?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The minority whip asked that question in rules, and I went and found out that answer is 13 projects would be affected without this. 13 projects. And so does the gentleman further yield? Yes, ma'am.
I think it's really important that we do know the environmental impact of some of these projects. So are there any safeguards in this bill just to make sure that we are actually going to prevent environmental harm for these projects that technically still cost a significant amount of money, but they would now fall below the threshold for review?
The same safeguards are still in effect.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, and I appreciate your favorable vote.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1277, the yeas are 149, the nays are 16. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, we have a former member of this House, Chairman Jason Shaw, who's across the street working for Georgians at Public Service Commission. But more importantly, he has his daughter with him. She's been with us all day today. Isn't she beautiful? We're so glad to have you, Mr. Chairman. But more importantly, we're glad to have you. Thank y'all. Anytime you come back, we don't care if your daddy comes back or not. We want you to come back. Ann Harvey, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1070?
House Bill 1070 by Representative Hagan and the 156 to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income tax imposition rate computation exemptions and credits so as to increase and extend an income tax credit for expenditures on the maintenance of railroad track. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Some railroad tracks all over Georgia, but certainly in rural Georgia, aren't there? Representative Lisa Hagan, Chair Lady Hagan, is recognized to present House Bill 1070.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, the railroad track maintenance tax credit was enacted in 2018 to assist our Class 3 short line railroads with their high infrastructure costs. And these short lines, as we mentioned this morning during morning orders, serve many parts of the state. They connect communities, industry, timber producers, and more to the larger Class 1 lines and to our ports. This bill would extend their tax credit sunset to 2031, and it increases the cap per track mile from $3,500 to $5,000 to reflect increased maintenance costs. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill, and if there's a question, I'd be happy to take it.
Lady has a question to your left, Representative Al Williams. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentlelady yield?
Yes.
How many short lines do we have in Georgia?
23.
23.
23, 26.
Oh, here or there.
Give or take.
Thank you very kindly.
You're welcome.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, colleagues. I ask for your favorable consideration.
Ladies yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1070, yeas are 167, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1085, 1085?
House Bill 1085 by Representative Petrie, the 166, and others, being entitled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to imposition, rate computation, exemptions, and credits relative to income taxes so as to provide for various tax credits for forestry manufacturing facilities. This bill I have referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Thank you for your work in this area, Chairman Petrie. Chairman Petrie is recognized to present House Bill 1085. Give the gentleman your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today House Bill 1085, which I call the Keep Georgia Forested Act. Most of you should know, I know we have a very diverse body, but 2 out of every 3 drops of rain that fall in the state of Georgia fall on commercially available, privately owned timberland. We are number one in our number one industry is agriculture, and the number one segment of agriculture is timber. And indeed, we have been for years the number one state in the country, which most people don't know, in timber and in pulp. And for those that may be interested, the reason that if you're very interested in the environmental aspects of forests, the fact that 2/3 of this state is forest, and you recognize how valuable that is to the environment and to the watersheds across this state, the reason that this state is so forested is because we have the ability for landowners to support themselves with timber. Without a timber industry, we don't have standing timber. And so it's very important for a multitude of ways. And lastly, it's important for jobs, right? And so right now, just so you'll know, right at $60 billion is the economic impact of the timber industry on Georgia, of the wood industry. And so recently, most of you should know, we've had a cascade of mill closures across this state, multitudes of them. Those of us that are in Chatham County, we lost the International Paper in Savannah. Representative Williams, we lost International Paper in Riceboro. Representative Prince, Chairman Prince, we lost one in your district. And so we've seen a multitude, Southwest Georgia, multitudes of mill closures. So let me tell you what we've done. In a very targeted way, in a way that was closely worked with industry, we've tried to find the fastest, most targeted way to bring that industry back, to bring those jobs back. And here's how we do it. Here's how we do it. We take existing tax credits. They're already in statute. Tax credits for the creation of jobs and tax credits for investment already exist. What this bill does is simply make those tax credits transferable. An example of that is what we did with the film industry. The growth we had in the film industry was largely due to tax credits that we made transferable. And that is what you're doing here in this measure. We're simply making existing tax credits transferable expressly for forestry, for wood manufacturers, for forestry manufacturing. So this does not make all tax credits transferable, only those that are related and defined in this bill as forestry manufacturing. Mr. Speaker, that's very simply what this measure does, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
The gentleman has a couple of questions. Representative Al Williams to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, I yield.
Is it not true that the closure of IP at Riceboro, Georgia, cost us near 300 jobs and tens of $millions in lost economic gain?
Representative, that is absolutely true. And statewide right now, we've seen just direct mill jobs, 1,600 lost jobs, 300 of which were yours. And the aggregate loss is about 7,000 jobs, but 1,600 direct mill closures.
Is it not true further that it affected about 5,000 landowners?
Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct.
I do support this bill. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Representative.
Representative Buckner to your left again is recognized for a question. Lady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield to my co-sponsor. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Isn't it true now more than ever, with all the closures, including a new one just this week, that we need to do something to really stand out in forestry to make sure that there'll be continued investment and new markets and development in our state?
Representative Buckner, that is absolutely true, because adjacent states in the wood belt are doing just that. They are offering incentives, and they are seeing new industry there in this realm, and we aren't. So yes,
Does
ma'am.
the gentleman further yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
Is it not true that this bill is a step in the right direction for helping make that happen?
Yes, Representative. I agree wholeheartedly.
Gentlemen, yield for another question. Representative Chaz Cannon to your right is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, I yield.
Is it not true that Georgia is the #1 forestry state in the country?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Is it not further true that this bill will help keep Georgia the #1 forestry state in the country?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
The gentleman has no further questions. I have a
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
comment, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker.
So, Georgia had 12 paper mill and sawmill closures up until yesterday. And Representative Buckner had a sawmill that closed at Bona Vista, is closing. So that brings us to 13. 13 in Georgia alone. Over 40 over the South. This is a crisis. It's a good bill. Thank you for working with Representative Buckner and bringing this legislation. I believe it will help. Thank you, Chairman Peach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for your leadership in this matter. I yield the well.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection, to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes Representative Carson rise?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Rule 133, I ask to be excused from this vote.
It will be so noted in the record. For what purposes Representative Davis rise? She waves, I guess, because I don't see her. Somebody must hit her button. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1085, the yeas are 161, the nays are 5. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1185?
House Bill 1185 by Representative Estration of the 104th to be entitled an act to amend Titles 14 and 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to corporations, partnerships, associations, and courts, respectively, so as to provide for certain shareholder claims to be brought before the Georgia Statewide Business Court. This bill having been assigned to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Leader Chuck F. Stration is recognized to present the bill. Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, to give a little background on House Bill 1185, several years ago I carried a proposed constitutional amendment and enabling legislation to establish what became the Georgia Statewide Business Court. The Georgia Statewide Business Court was set up for the purpose of giving a specialized court for complex business litigation, modeling the Fulton and then later the Metro business court model, where you could have a more expedited resolution of cases, that you could have judges with a history dealing with complex business litigation. And it was really in keeping with what we had seen with success out of some other states, such as the Delaware Chancery Court and some other business court type structures in other states. So what has now resulted is, I think, a consequence of the legislation that was ultimately passed. But House Bill 1185, I'm proud to bring in partnership with the governor's office, who worked on this bill, to allow for what are called derivative actions, shareholder-brought claims or disputes by partners. If in the business operating agreement, articles of incorporation, those disputes are to be resolved in the business court, that's where they could be resolved. To provide protections against circumstances of fishing expeditions, requesting documents which can be time-consuming and expensive for businesses when there's no proper purpose to seek those, and also providing some, I think, greater flexibility for what's called removal, and that's going between the trial court and the business court. This legislation is brought with a thoughtful consideration of laws in other states, like I was talking about earlier, that have seen businesses want to incorporate in their state. And in keeping with Georgia being the #1 state for business, the desire is if we have statute equipped to allow our business court, statewide business court, to consider complex business litigation, then we will create an environment where more corporations will want to be incorporated in Georgia, thereby creating more jobs and furthering our objective of economic development. So I'd ask for your favorable consideration of HB 1185, and Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer any questions.
The gentleman has no questions, but we do have a speaker on the bill. The gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield the well and ask for the House's favorable consideration.
Gentleman is yielded the well. Representative Stacey Evans is recognized to speak in opposition to the bill. The lady is recognized to speak to House Bill 1185.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I rise in opposition to 1185, not because I have a problem with the business court, not because I have a problem with, honestly, most of the bill, but because I have a problem with Section 10. And I'm going to explain to you why. It's a little bit wonky, but in current law, if you are a shareholder or a limited partner in an organization and you have concerns about the management of the company because you want to protect your investment, you are able to make what's called a Books and Records Act request. You have to say why you want it. You have to say specifically what documents you want to say. It's very limited. And then the company gets a chance to respond to you and provide those documents to you. Then you can see if your concern was warranted or not. And if it was warranted and you think that there's mismanagement that is depleting your investment, then obviously you have access to the courts. Now, it doesn't take a genius to know that if you make a Books and Records Act request, you likely tried to deal with it informally. These are, after all, what everyone in here would probably consider business people. Some of these are institutional investors. This is not someone from outside the company that's able to just come in and ask the company for their books and records. This is someone who's invested money in the company. They are an owner of some extent in the company, and they have concerns, and they want to know what's going on. We all know that there are companies that don't do things the right way. Corporate mismanagement, corporate corruption happens. And usually it has to be sussed out from the inside. So if you file one of these Books and Records Act requests, it's probably because you think there's a problem, not because you think everything is wonderful. So you're probably in your mind expecting that you might find something bad and you might have to file a lawsuit. So with that background, what this legislation does in Section 10 is says that no longer would it be considered a proper purpose if you expect to file a lawsuit. That basically erases your right to books and records. Again, these are business people who have ownership interests in the company. These are not people from the outside. We are basically going to tie their hands and say, you don't have access to books and records until you file a lawsuit, which I think is going to do the opposite of what this body seems to want to do, which is limit lawsuits. Delaware has a large body of law developed on these books and records requests. They specifically have talked about how these Books and Records Act requests are good, because sometimes you might find out you're wrong and then you don't bring a lawsuit. But if you have to bring a lawsuit to get access to the books and records, we're going to have more lawsuits. So I think Section 10 is not helpful. I will share that the majority leader and the governor's office have talked about a change that I think would solve the problem. But I got that famous line, we'll deal with it in the Senate. I don't know about you, but especially this year, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. So I wanted to come up here and share my concern, because I think it could also be some of yours, and join me in voting no. The last thing I want to say, this Section 10 is not needed for us to attract businesses. Like I said, Delaware is the #1 place for incorporation. I think it still is. They don't do this. They don't say that if you expect a lawsuit, it's an improper purpose. In fact, it's the opposite. I've also heard Texas has done this language, and we got to compete with Texas. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Texas allows pre-litigation discovery for anybody. So don't let them tell you that we need this to be less litigant-friendly than Texas, because it's just not true. That dog won't hunt. Please join me in voting no on House Bill 1185. Thank you.
The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1185, the yeas are 104, the nays are 66. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. For what purpose does Representative Fleming rise?
To make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
I move that the rules be temporarily suspended so that a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
A numbered House bill by Representative Fleming of the 114th to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2, Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia and intended relating to elections and primaries generally.
On the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Governmental? There is objection. The gentleman move. The gentleman moves.
Somebody tell him it's going.
Recognize Representative Fleming for another motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. I'll make the motion to withdraw that motion.
The gentleman's move that the motion be withdrawn. So moved. For what purpose does Representative McCollum rise?
Make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
I move that the rules be temporarily suspended so that a bill may be read for the first time and assigned to a committee.
Mr. Clerk will read the caption.
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative McCollum of the 30th. The bill be titled to amend Chapter 2, Title 40, and Code Section 48.5C1 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to registration and licensing of motor vehicles and alternate ad valorem taxation.
On to the gentleman's motion that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee. Is there objection? Motor vehicles.
Ridley.
Okay, members, listen up. The following bills and resolutions will be postponed to the next legislative day, which is tomorrow. House Bill 421, House Bill 942, House Bill 1076, House Bill 1164, House Resolution 1000, and House Resolution 1049. We have a whole slew of afternoon orders. I'll give you all about a minute. We have some committee meetings we need to get to. We'll begin our afternoon orders with Representative Kimberly New and friends. Representative New. Representative Mac Jackson, you're on deck. Your friends didn't show up. Okay. Representative New is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you. Speaker, members, tomorrow is Emergency Management Association Day at the Capitol. Please come by room 510 in the CLOB to visit with these amazing folks from 9 to 9:30 in the morning. I'd appreciate it if you'd just pop in and say hi. Thank you.
Did you get it, message?
Representative Mac Jackson is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I rise for a Black History moment. I had a picture, but it's not available to be put up. The Green Book and historic context. Traveling with a minimum degree of safety and comfort is something we expect to be available to us now. Although the work is guaranteed, civil rights for all is a continuing process. We may take for granted, but we can stop to use the restroom, grab a meal, get gas, or find a place to stay overnight, more or less whenever or wherever we need along the way. But not very long ago, this was not expected and certainly not taken for granted by a large percentage of American citizens, African Americans, thanks to entrenched and systemic racism that was pervasive throughout the country in the form of formal Jim Crow laws, segregationist policies, informal community traditions, or simply racist attitudes of individuals. African Americans always faced increased difficulties and frequently faced physical danger whenever they wanted or needed to take a trip away from home. But the Green Book was a brainchild of Postman Victor Green and first published in 1936.
Those go back.
It didn't tell you if a place had a good steak or good seafood or a soft bed. It told you where you would be safe. It told you where you'd be welcome and not made to go around the kitchen and order something to go. The starting point from which a safe journey could be planned and a tool for African American community to actively resist the oppression they face across America. Thank you. That's my Black History moment for today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Representative Kelly, Representative Gamble, Chairman Scoggins, Chairman Montahan, Representative New, Representative Gullett. Who's going to do the talking? Oh, Representative Gamble. All right. Give him just a moment. I think you have your crew. The gentleman's recognized.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning in Emerson, Georgia, in my district, we had the distinct honor of hosting Fox and Friends there at the Doug's Place restaurant in Emerson. And Steve Ducey was able to spend the morning talking to different people about politics in our nation and things like that. And so we just wanted to take a moment to thank Mark and Pam Sullins, who own the restaurant, for providing the opportunity to host Fox and Friends this morning. They did make the mistake of allowing me to speak, and they put me on the news, which I'm not real sure about. But the event was well, and it brought a lot of positive attention to our community. So we wanted to recognize them this afternoon. Thank you.
Good work. I'm glad it worked out. Representative Adenia, give the gentleman your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, members. I rise today to recognize this week as National Eating Disorders Awareness Week and to bring attention to an issue that affects individuals and families across Georgia. Eating disorders such as anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating disorder are serious mental health conditions with severe medical consequences. In Georgia, nearly 1 million people will experience an eating disorder in their lifetime, impacting our students, co-workers, friends, and loved ones. This week serves as an opportunity to reduce the stigma, promote education, and encourage those who are struggling to seek help. I would also like to recognize my House intern, Levi Thomas, for bringing this important matter to my attention and for his commitment to raising awareness on behalf of those affected. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the members of this House join me in recognizing National Eating Disorder Awareness Week and reaffirming our commitment to the health and well-being of all Georgians. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Holly. There he is. And Friends. Gentleman's recognized.
Give a little time. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we'd like to honor a moment in American history. As you will see on the monitor, that 136 years ago to this day, the United States saw to the election to the United States Senate Hiram Revels, himself a Christian minister who originally came from the state of North Carolina, but traveled around the country recruiting followers to Christ, who landed in Mississippi, and upon his arrival, put his name into local politics, being active, and was summarily elected into the halls of power in Congress. Let us be reminded that his fellow Republicans, some of whom are seated right now, recognize that he is a man who actually bridged the ties between the races. In his quote, he said, "While I was in favor of building up the colored race, I was not in favor of tearing down the white race." And being a Christian minister, he reminded his colleagues to follow Amos 10:34. God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right, as well as Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Let us all remember Hiram Revels, who opened the door for so many of us and is our tribute to a very established and good American. Thank you.
Representative Park Cannon is recognized for an afternoon order. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm excited to talk about Fertility Awareness Week, which is coming up in the summer this year, and we are really in the know that approximately 1 in 6 people experience infertility in their lifetime. This is a prevalence that spans all income levels and regions. In the United States, approximately 12% of women and 9% of men are infertile, and the need for fertility care to build one's family arises from different reasons. Infertility disproportionately affects some communities. For example, Black women in the United States are nearly twice as likely to experience infertility as non-Hispanic white women, and people with disabilities experience higher rates of infertility, often due to underlying medical conditions, medications, or prior medical interventions. We know that assisted reproductive technologies, including in vitro fertilization, are safe and effective, and fertility preservation techniques such as gamete or tissue cryopreservation are recommended for individuals at risk of infertility. We thank ACOG for recommending timely referral for fertility preservation, and we're excited to support the Fertility Justice Now Coalition as we go forward this year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative.
Good job, Representative.
Representative Schofield. Lady's recognized. She has a photo that needs to go up. Hold, there you go. Now you're ready.
Thank you,
Lady's
Mr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the screen are Jamar, age 7, Park, age 10, and Caden, age 11. All are looking to be adopted and are active in sports, good at math, and plan to attend college. Colleagues, we can make it possible for them to be adopted at itsmyturnnow.dhs.ga.gov. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Crowe, Chairman Crowe. You have an, perfect. You don't have an afternoon order. That works out well. That completes afternoon orders. We have some announcements. Let me start these announcements, everyone. You can meet upon adjournment, but for planning purposes, you know, approximately 4 o'clock is when these meetings will start, but you need to stay in contact with your chairs. So we have 3 committee meetings that we're going to meet, so take this into consideration. Chairman Noel Williams is canceling his banks and bankings. You don't need to come up. Chairman Hagan is canceling her meeting, and Chairman Gunther is canceling their meetings. Let's see. So those meetings would have been at 2, correct? What yours was at upon adjournment, so that frees up that space. When was your, and his was at 3, so that hopefully lets you do the math. Good luck. We passed the math bill today. Maybe we needed it today. So Chairman Jaspers, you're scheduled at what time? So upon adjournment, you want to meet now? Make your announcement.
Transportation Committee, we are going to meet in room 406 upon adjournment. We have our Chief Engineer, Meg Perkle, be discussing that right-of-way bill we heard about the other day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Hawkins, have you done the math? Yes, sir. Good man.
We're going to meet, the House's going to meet upon adjournment in CLOB 506. We got 3 bills, and you should be out by 5 o'clock and on your way. Hopefully.
Chairman Martin, yeah. Go ahead. You do it.
The House Higher Ed Committee will meet upon adjournment, 606 in the CLOB.
Chairman Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ways and Means Committee will meet upon adjournment in room 341. Chairman Blackman asked me to make that announcement for me. So Ways and Means in 341 upon adjournment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Irwin, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are still going to meet House Ed subcommittees today. We've got two 30-minute meetings. We're going to start at 4 o'clock as scheduled. We're still going to assign you a room. We had 506. We're going to see if it's available, and then we'll be sending you out an email. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you for being adaptable. Chairman Camp, Chairlady Camp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Judiciary Juvenile will be meeting today in room 403 upon adjournment. We have 4 bills. Thank you.
What time? Upon adjournment. I think that's right now. We're almost there. All right, is there anyone else needs to make an announcement? Chairlady Smith, tomorrow. That works. You want to talk? All right, you make your announcement. Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're going to have Banks and Banking in 403, the Capitol, at 8 o'clock in the morning. 403 Capitol, 8 a.m. in the morning, Banks and Banking. Thank you.
Chairman Chokus, do you need to share something? Okay. Chairman Anderson, can you make the time for your meeting and then let your members know the room number? Let's take a shot at the time. Yeah. Yes. 4 o'clock. Chairman Anderson's recognized for a motion.
Thank you,
Excuse
Mr.
me,
Speaker.
for an announcement.
Yes, sir. House Governmental Affairs will meet at 4 o'clock, but we are still determining where. So we'll let everybody know as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Chairman Crow, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, members of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, we will be meeting upon adjournment in room 506 of the CLOB 506 Public Safety Committee. Upon adjournment, we'll have 2 bills to take up. Should be quick.
Hey, Chairlady Lynn Smith is recognized for an announcement.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I have switched this to tomorrow, so this is not for today. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in room 606, CLOB, and we will have 2 meetings. One is the subcommittee meeting on House Bill 663, and then it's a full committee meeting, and we will have a presentation from EPD. So I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The leader will be announcing a 9 o'clock start time here in just a few minutes, but so y'all are good. Chairman Anderson has a room.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Governmental Affairs will meet at 4 o'clock in 132 Capitol.
Chairman Irwin has a room.
House Ed Subcommittees, room 515 at 4 o'clock. 515, 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Everybody has a room? Gentlemen, did you find a room?
Well, I had a room, but now the room is
They bumped you.
room's being occupied.
All right, go ahead, Chairman Hawkins.
We are. I think we'll just cancel the meeting because I think we'll cancel the meeting. Yeah, we'll just cancel.
Chairman Hawkins' health meeting is canceled. Chairman Hawkins' health meeting is canceled. I'm doing my best. Wait a minute.
Okay, I've got an agreement with the other folks there in public safety, and we'll meet 30 minutes after adjournment. All right, you'll be through in 30 minutes. So that'll put us about, I don't know what time it is right now, 4. We'll probably be there 4:30. 4:30 Health 506.
Boy, I'm glad we passed that math bill today. Oh, God. I tell you. So y'all know the great thing about this. Next year, when we're in that new legislative office building, this won't be a problem. This will not be a problem. We'll have plenty of room. Does anyone else need to make an announcement or clarify anything? Okay. Mr. Majority Leader, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until Thursday, February 26, 2026 at 9 o'clock a.m.
On the motion of the Majority Leader, that this House stand adjourned.